Oh, hello there. Yes, well, we might get some sunshine. Hooray! I'm going to quite enjoy cycling around about this week, I think. Yes, indeed. Anyway, the election. Ooh, yes. Well, not really, eh? Yes, anyway, it does seem to have brought out a particular brand of person in my comments that will like to argue the toss with me, even when I know that I'm exactly right, and they obviously don't. When you hear lots of bad things about the British education system, it's primarily centred around people my age. Yeah, I didn't get a good education, and by God it shows. Anyway, today I want to talk about this wider aspect about what's going on, because we all know it's the election is a foregone conclusion. So now we're very much into that phase of people trying to reassemble what's going to happen. And I would just want to go into Tim Montgomerie, who's a biggie in the Conservative Party, has been for like 20 odd years, let's say. Founder of Conservative Home, loads of ties with all those dodgy think tanks, but somebody that you listen to when he's talking. So just want to unpack some of this, okay? Last week I confirmed I'd be voting for my local MP, Tory MP John Glenn, because I see him as a model of duty, competence in the very traditional English sense of public service. In recent weeks, e.g., he gripped the contaminated blood scandal like no one before him had done. But this week I also said I'd vote for Nigel Farage if I lived in Clacton, because my party needs reminding of its once core beliefs on border control, law and order, over-taxation and home ownership. So here's the thing. Yes, now before we get to that, of course. Now, Tim Montgomerie will like to present himself as very much a mainstream conservative, which I'm sure in his own mind he is. But he does also represent that right wing of the party, a particular type, if you like, who have probably done more to damage this country in the last 40 years than anything else you can think of, realistically. Yes, even gay people, even the junior doctors. Yes. Anyway, moving on. Encouraged by a couple of people with deeper pockets than me. Oh, not going to diagnose, not going to state who though, eh? Rich business people. Okay, yeah. I'm actively exploring putting together a list of 1, good, serious Tory MPs who don't deserve to be punished because of bad decisions by a soon-to-disappear, failed party leadership. Okay, yes, that's one particular Liz Trussy-style wing of the party. So, in other words, these poor people who, through no fault of their own, many, many cabinet ministers who we've all grown to love over the years, like Suella Braverman, don't deserve to lose their seats. And we need to do something about it, because all of that talent will go to waste. Yes. Okay. And 2, an identification of those standing for reform, and perhaps even 1 or 2, e.g. SDP candidates. Yes, indeed, the SDP, who you may recall from some of my videos, are a really out there right-wing group who are basically about 1 inch removed from your kind of Britain First, effectively, these days. I don't think you can possibly call groups like UKIP as they are now and the SDP anything other than far right. I mean, I know they had trouble hanging on to leaders for more than 15 seconds, etc., but these are not mainstream conservative thought in any sense of what we might know as the Conservative as a broad church for the last 40 years. Okay, who, 1, might easily be made candidates by Thatcher and Major's rules-based Tory HQ, and or 2, any standouts, whatever that means, who know politics is broken, would enrich the backbenchers with independent thinking, like Tim and the rest of them, and are rightly appalled at the too many barely conservative in any way careerists who bedrock the Tory benches but were fast-tracked and protected by the unaccountable and incestuous candidates, matesocracy in the contemporary Tory HQ. Yes, indeed. You see, Tim has now woken up, a bit like the entire political class in this country, to the fact that people are very much hacked off with the whole matesocracy. If I can use his phrase, that's quite a good phrase actually. But it's a lot more than that. It's a public schoolocracy. Okay, whereby you can simply be fast-tracked at university, provided it's one of the good ones, obviously. You know, if your dad's an MP, into basically being parachuted into a safe constituency with no life experience whatsoever. I mean, as he pointed out this weekend, this is likely to be the most diverse group of MPs ever in terms of what they look like, in terms of being women or being gay or being brown or whatever. But at the same time, the class background that they come from will have incredibly narrowed. We don't have ordinary people representing us anymore. There's a handful on the Labour benches. There's you might get one or possibly even two Tories at present, but I mean, you know, they are basically your Tices and your Farages. These are rich people playing games. Anyway, this voter advisory list, if it happens at all, will only cover seats where the public record on quality of sources provides more than tidbits and will then only be advisory. It will be info rather than commandments. And if the team I'm exploring building is divided on any head-to-head battles, we'll admit as such. Yes, indeed, because, God, we need to save what's left of the important bits of the Conservative Party. Now, I don't really know what Suella Braverman, Penny Mordaunt, Kemi Badenoch or Liz Truss are going to do if they lose their seats. But I'm willing to bet that they will be kept on the back burner to be placed once again in Parliament because they have such a proven track record of, you know, being really good at things. I mean, Kemi especially being, you know, what with her record on equalities for people she likes. Yeah, because, you know, those people need more, don't they? Yeah, I mean, not, you know, people she doesn't like trans people. It's all bad, isn't it? You know, just listen to Sex Matters. Just take your advice from them. But what this leads me on to, I've got to stop being rude about Sex Matters. No, I haven't. No, it's entirely justified. Anyway, moving on from that. Yeah, so, but we see this across the board, right? Okay, we've had, this weekend, we've had news about Rosie Duffield, who apparently is so horrified at the thought that the trans lobby are going to turn up with pitchforks and flaming, well, torches, I suppose, or just maybe battery torches, one of the two, anyway, that she's cancelled hustings, so she can't be seen in public, whilst at the same time, the hustings that she couldn't go to because it was too dangerous, managed to be seen with Fergal Sharkey sitting in a pub, which is fine, apparently, rather than actually meeting constituents. Rather handy not to meet constituents and have to answer to things, because that would be, what's that word? Democracy, wouldn't it? Yeah. Still, that's Rosie for you. She was parachuted in, and hopefully the residents of Canterbury will parachute her back out again. It might be nice. And, of course, we must come to Luke Akehurst, who's been out on the stump, and as various people have pointed out, oddly, he doesn't seem to have many people around him. It seems to be the same crew of people. There's about 6 of them that they're managing to do anything. God, if you get a chance, there is an appalling video of him trying to sound authentic to the voters at wherever I am. Do have a look at it. It's really painful. The guy may well get elected because people won't know about him. But dear God, we do not need more Friends of Israel in in the House of Commons, and we certainly don't need people being parachuted in like that. Yeah, because it's yet another nail in the coffin of diverse thought in this country. Now, you can argue that you don't really like left-wingers, and you're entitled to your opinion. I know lots of people in my comments do. I don't care. However, a healthy democracy is based on a very wide range of opinions, not simply a bunch of Anne Ray and libertarians on the Conservative benches and a bunch of Blairite careerists on the Labour ones. It would be nice to vote for other people, people that aren't in hock of big business. Speaking of which, I mean, some of the coverage in the newspapers has been very interesting. The Times, if you can get past the paywall, has a brilliant article about tactical voting this weekend, linked down below. It's astounding to see the Sun newspaper. Just having a look over the last week, they have run 2 minor little stories on their front page about politics, kind of half-hearted attack on Starmer and a generic thing about Rishi Sunak. That's it. The Sun newspaper have opted out, which probably means that Rupert Murdoch is basically fully accepting that we're going to have a Starmer government, and is probably wondering where he's going to go next in terms of his enormous media share. Yes, thank God we got him as a bulwark against that left-wing bias at the BBC. I mean, my advice once again to people is look at your local candidates and try and kick out the ones that are just plain awful. I mean, you know, we have had Conservative MPs now magically who are turning up and suggesting that people really need to vote for them because they never really agreed with all those things that they went through the Yes lobby with. Honest, a plague on all of their Houses of Commons, I think. Yes, indeed. Anyway, do have a lovely week if you can. I've got another quiet one, actually. So I ought to do something, shouldn't I, rather than just wasting my life staring at a camera. Anyway, enjoy.